This question is from Design Patterns, and the question is, give an example for Singleton Design Pattern, how can we achieve or implement it, and also how can we break that. So if you see, the behavior of the Singleton pattern is it ensures that a class has only one instance and provides a global access point to that instance. Which means whenever you try to create an object for a Singleton class, it always ensures that it will return you the same single and already instantiated object. Here I am showing you a sample example how can we declare and create Singleton class as per its definition. I have declared a class called Singleton, then declared same class field inside. I also made the field as static so that during class load only we can instantiate this field. Next, we'll make the default constructor as private so that it is not accessible directly to create an object using new keyword and default constructor, right? To initialize and access the Singleton object, we'll declare public static getter method for that field which is accessible globally. Then inside the getter method, we'll check if the instance is not yet initialized. We'll initialize it using default constructor which is only available to the same class. This is one of the simple type of Singleton. Usually it's not a thread safe in multi-threaded environment. Also, we can break it using reflection or by cloning. So next we'll see in different ways how can we break Singleton class behavior. But for reference, you should know this simple implementation for Singleton class. Okay. To make our Singleton class thread safe, we can declare the getter method as synchronized. So even though multiple threads try to access it, only one thread is allowed at a time and we can prevent duplication of initializing the Singleton object, right? There is also another way to define a Singleton class using a static inner class, and this is called as Pugh Singleton class. Here static inner class is responsible for holding the Singleton instance. Now let's see how can we break the Singleton behavior in various ways as asked by the interviewer. So as I told you earlier, we can break the Singleton behavior of a class using reflection API, and we can achieve it by accessing its private constructor. So I'm just showing the code here to break it using reflection. Assume we have sample Singleton class, and then using reflection we can get its constructor as singleton.class.getDeclared constructor. Then we can set the constructor accessible using constructor.setAccessible to true. And finally, to create the instance of Singleton, we can use constructor.newInstance, which creates a new instance each time for that Singleton class. This is how simply we can break the Singleton class using reflection. So now when we try to print the hash codes, they will print two different hash codes since they are two different objects, right? Now let's see how we can break the Singleton using second way, that is using serialization. Suppose if any Singleton class extends serializable class, then during deserialization process, it will always create a new instance every time. So for this, here is the example where Singleton class extended the serializable class, and during deserialization you can see each time it gives us a new instance. Next, there is one more way to break the Singletons in case if they implements clonable interface. Breaking the Singleton behavior is simple here. We can clone and create a new instance from the Singleton instance. I am showing the same thing here. After deserialization, we have one instance created. Then using instance clone method, we are able to create other instance. If we check the hash codes of these two, it will print different hash codes like in our previous examples. I hope you got it now. And there is also one more way we can break the Singleton behavior, that is using multi-threading. I have already explained you this. If the global accessible getter method is not thread safe, then we can still break it with multi-threads. You can just take a note of this example too. So overall, whenever Singleton Design Pattern interview question is on your table, make sure you have all these ways of creation and breaking of Singletons. Interviewer can ask from any topic on this. So just summarizing here the preventions necessary to avoid breaking the behavior of Singleton class, for which it is meant for, right? Please go through or take the note of these points, and I don't want to take much of your time on this.